Today, we're going to dive into the story of a man whose wisdom was so profound, so timeless, that God himself immortalized it in the Quran. And the really incredible part is who this man was. He wasn't a king or a prophet or some powerful nobleman. He was a slave.
And that right there is the central question of our story. How does a man born into the absolute lowest rung of society climb to a spiritual status so high that, centuries later, his words are still studied by billions of people? It's an amazing paradox, and it holds a really powerful lesson for all of us.
I mean, just look at the contrast in Luqman's life. It's night and day. On one side, you have his worldly status, a black slave from Nubia, someone who is described as physically, well, unremarkable. But on the other side, an eternal legacy, a wise man, a sage, whose advice fills an entire sacred chapter. This is the journey we're about to unpack.
All right, so let's start at the very beginning. We have to go way back to the 11th century BC in Nubia to really understand the world that Luqman was born into.
So Luqman's early life was pretty much defined by servitude. He was born in ancient Nubia, and while his appearance was simple, his inner world was anything but. From a very young age, he was that quiet kid, the one who preferred to watch and think rather than talk. And this quiet, contemplative nature, it gave him this deep connection to the world around him. He had a real gift for understanding nature, and even the healing properties of plants.
So, you've got to wonder, how does a quiet slave with a knack for herbs end up gaining his freedom? Well, it all comes down to one pivotal moment, a simple test that showed everyone the incredible depth of his wisdom.
His master, who is probably pretty curious about this quiet guy, gives him this kind of strange command. He says, "Butcher a sheep and bring me back the 2 best parts." Now, it sounds like a simple request, but really, it's a test of insight.
Luqman's choice is not what anyone would expect. He doesn't bring back some prime cut of meat. Nope, he returns with 2 organs, the heart and the tongue. His master is surprised for sure, but he doesn't say anything. Instead, he decides he's going to test him again.
So the next day, the master completely flips the script. He says, "Okay, butcher another sheep, but this time, I want you to bring me the 2 worst parts." So you're probably thinking, okay, what's the opposite of the heart and the tongue? And here's the brilliant twist. Luqman comes back with the exact same 2 things, the heart and the tongue. Now his master is just completely baffled, maybe even a little angry, and he demands an explanation. And this was Luqman's incredible answer. This was the key that unlocked his freedom. He explained that the heart, where all our intentions come from, and the tongue, the tool we use to express ourselves, well, they're the source of all good and all evil in a person. If they're good, nothing in the body is better, but if they're corrupt, nothing is worse.
And get this, he was only about 18 years old when this happened. Luqman didn't fight for his freedom. He didn't run away. He earned it with pure wisdom. His master immediately recognized he wasn't in the presence of a slave, but a sage, and he set him free.
But, freedom wasn't the end of his story, not by a long shot. It was really just the beginning of a whole new series of trials. His wisdom was about to be tested, again and again, in the fires of affliction.
When you look at his life, you see this incredible pattern. 3 different times he was bound, first by birth, then by jealousy, and then by a simple case of mistaken identity. And 3 different times he was freed, but his spirit was never broken. This cycle of hardship and liberation was absolutely essential in forging his amazing character.
The great mystic poet Rumi captured this idea perfectly. He said, Luqman's suffering wasn't some kind of punishment, it was a purification process. It's like each trial was a fire, burning away any impurities and leaving behind only the pure gold of his wisdom and patience. And that patience, man, it's on full display in another amazing story. One time, Luqman came across the prophet David, who was miraculously shaping iron armor with his bare hands. Now, you can imagine how curious he was, right? But he didn't interrupt. He didn't ask a single question. He just sat there and watched in complete silence for hours.
When David finally finished, he put on the armor he'd made and explained what it was for. Only then did Luqman speak, and he said, "Silence is wisdom, but few practice it." See, he had learned everything he needed to know just by being patient.
So all of these experiences, the slavery, the freedom, those trials, that incredible patience, it all culminated in the wisdom that he would one day pass on to his own son.
And this counsel was so perfect that God chose to preserve it for all of humanity.
In the Quran, this special gift is called hikmah. Now, this isn't just about being smart or having a lot of knowledge. Hikmah is a divine wisdom. It's the ability to see the truth of things and to understand where everything fits in the grand scheme of things. It was this gift that guided every piece of Luqman's advice.
His famous advice to his son can really be broken down into these three core pillars. It all starts with the most important relationship of all, your relationship with God. From there, it moves to the most foundational human one, your family. And finally, it expands outward to your character and how you deal with every single person.
So the foundation is faith. Luqman's very first piece of advice is about the oneness of God, and he says that associating partners with God is the greatest injustice you could ever commit. He then reminds his son that nothing, not even an action as tiny as a mustard seed hidden deep inside a rock, escapes God's knowledge. And when you truly understand that, it should lead you to two key actions: consistent prayer and unwavering patience, no matter what life throws at you.
Okay, so how does that faith actually translate into action? Well, the advice on conduct is all about one thing: humility. He says, be someone who encourages good and forbids wrong, but do it without arrogance. Don't turn your cheek away from people. Don't walk around with a boastful swagger. Be moderate in your pace and even lower your voice. It's this outward expression of a deep inner wisdom.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from this incredible life? Well, Luqman's legacy isn't just a list of ancient rules. It's a practical, powerful formula for living a life of meaning and contentment.
You know, when his son asked him how they, as poor people, could ever afford the best things in life, Luqman's answer was just beautifully simple. He said the best food isn't the most expensive dish. It's whatever you eat when you're truly hungry. The best bed isn't the softest one. It's the one you sleep in when you're truly tired. And the best home? That's not a palace. It's the space you create in people's hearts just by treating them with kindness. From that first amazing insight about the heart and the tongue, to the simple humility of lowering your voice, Luqman's teachings have echoed through the ages. His life is the ultimate proof that true honor doesn't come from your status, it comes from wisdom. So the question to leave you with is this: what piece of this ancient, divinely inspired wisdom are you going to carry with you today?